Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
I mean, these are brothers come back at y'all with the Lord's will. We always start. Let's give all the praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Achakadash. Double honors to the elder apostles, the great millstone, our teachers. Our shalom to you brothers across the four winds of this earth, pushing his truth and all righteousness and sincerity. And as always, peace, blessings, and salutations to you sincere Aki and Mu'akwaf, you brothers along with your sisters, for giving all diligence, making a calling and election sure in these last days, man.
Hey, shalom. Subscribe to beloved other Paul today. Like brother said, man, me, so ultimately gets worse, man. We need to pass over, man. We need to ultimately go into the time, exit, and that took all part, happen, in this time, man. We're in spiritual teachers, so how shall it come? And not only the heathen stories about people put to death, whether it be by Esau even beforehand or by those Icelandic nuclear missiles, that's what's going to happen, man. People put to death. Go ahead. First verse? Yeah, start the first verse.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 12, and verse 1. And it reads, "And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months."
Right, it's talking about the month of Eve, right, which goes into the first month, which it's the beginning of spring, right? Go ahead.
It reads, "It shall be the first month of the year to you.
Right.
Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, In the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for their house. And if be take according to the number of the soul, every 40 shall be your account for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without for year. Ye shall take out the sheep or
ultimately, we're rehearsing the righteous acts. So that's the fifth chapter, in the 10th verse, where we're rehearsing the righteous acts, so we're not going to be able to, forget. We do this through faith, we've been stripped of our heritage, going to Jeremiah 7:14. We've been stripped of our heritage. We've been stripped of the knowledge of how to serve our Lord, Yahweh Shai, correctly and perfectly. On top of that, we're in our captivity. So there's no absolute way that we're able to do this perfectly. So we have to do it to the best of our ability. And there's almost no way, to know that the lamb that we go by is the lamb of the first year, without spot or blemish. Again, so you're going to buy a lamb, and through faith, being covered under grace, we do it to the best of our ability. Because again, we made it almost impossible for us to be able to follow these laws and commandments as well as the high holy day, perfectly.
Yeah, because people say, man, we shall eat our bread defiled. So a lot of what we eat is defiled. That's why we always pray over our food. But I also hope the Judges will be right there. This is the book of Judges, chapter 5, verse 11, and it reads, "Archers in the place of drawing water."
Right, place of drawing water is here and there. Go ahead.
There shall they rehearse the righteous acts of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai.
Right, you go into that, it goes into practice, and you never when you first start doing something and you practice it the best of your ability, and ultimately what happens is you get better and better at as you go on, but nonetheless, and the first time you do it, it's never perfect. It takes time, it takes repetition of doing the same thing over and over and over in order for you to get it perfect. And even then, as much as we do it, we're still not doing it perfect. We will do it perfectly in the kingdom. That's right. Finish that off.
Okay. It says, there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, even the righteous acts towards the inhabitants of his villages in Israel. Shall Exodus chapter 12, verse 5, and it reads, your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. Ye shall take it out from the sheep or from the goat, and ye shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening.
Now, again, we can't just go out and buy a lamb and kill it. You're going to have, these animal cruelty people and so on and so forth, hopefully coming out of it. So, again, we go to, the nearest market that has a lamb, a meat market or wherever we buy our lamb, because they're legally allowed to go slaughter, like butcher or something like that. They're able to go and do that. We're not. We literally seen as animal cruelty. We would go do that. So we can't follow this, to the T. But we try. Again, we basically establish the law, right? So
that's right. Verse 7, and it reads, and they shall take of the blood and strike it on the two side posts and on the upper doorpost of the houses wherein they shall eat it.
Right, man. Again, this is something that we are not able to do. People will look at it as crazy, probably call it. Hey, we're doing this spiritually, man.
Yeah, that's right.
Yahweh Shai, which is crazy. We were watching the other Apostle Bar's video and he brought up the simple fact that, John, the first chapter, Yahweh Shai, he's that lamb. He was that lamb that was killed, matter of fact, if I can, I'm gonna grab that. This is Isaiah chapter 53 and verse 7. It says, he was oppressed. It's talking about Yahweh. He was oppressed, he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before her shearers is dumb, so he opened not his mouth. So right, ultimately Yahweh Shai is that sheep in this time, man. He is that lamb in this time, right? And that blood is going into this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Lord will, we can be covered, by his blood, by the blood of the lamb. Which again goes to wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, in this time, right?
Exodus chapter 12 and verse 8. And it reads, and they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire, and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it.
Right, and ultimately, unleavened bread is going into bread without a rising heat, right? So such as, baking soda, baking powder, whatever, yeast, and you can look up ultimately, leavening heat, on like Google or something like that. But nonetheless, we're not to eat those things in the Passover for 7 days. For 7 days, we're not allowed to have, those, any type of food with leavening agent in it. Right? Again, baking powder, baking soda, yeast, and so on and so forth. There's other ones. I can't remember the names of them, but you can go and look them up, and you have to get rid of those things, put them out your house for 7 days, right? And we're not to eat it for 7 days as well. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 9, and it reads, eat not of it raw, nor sodden at all with water, but roast with fire, his head with his legs, and with the pertinence thereof.
Right. So ultimately, we're not seasoning that, because at the time of, the Egyptian or when the Israelites coming out of Egypt, when they were doing this Passover, everything was done in haste. So we didn't have time to, season it. We didn't have time to put any leavening agent within our bread, and so on and so forth. Right. And that's why we do these things. Because again, everything is supposed to be done in haste. So again, we don't eat leavened bread, for the 7 days. You put it out your house, and you put your lamb in, preferably an oven, or a toaster oven or whatever you have, you know, and basically, bake it or roast it, with no seasoning, right? And then afterwards, obviously you eat it. Lucky, man. Satan messing with the live stream, man. Satan messing with it hard, man. But let's read that verse again.
Exodus chapter 12 and verse 9.
Right.
It reads, eat not of it raw, nor sodden it all with water, but roast with fire his head with his legs and with the pertinence thereof.
Mm-hmm.
And ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning. And that which remaineth of it until the morning, ye shall burn with fire.
Keep going.
And thus shall ye eat it with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand. And ye shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover.
Right. So everything was done in haste, man. Of the Passover, doing, basically doing the ceremony, so on and so forth, man. Everything that has to do with Passover was done in haste, because again, we were getting out of Egypt. The Lord Yahweh Bashem Shah was leading us out of Egypt, and we were getting out of there. So we didn't have time to, that's why I said with shoes on and everything, man. Imagine having to eat with shoes on, man, not being comfortable, and that's what they were going through, man. And we have to ultimately remember that, man.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, go ahead.
Verse 12. For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night,
right,
and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast, and against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment.
Right.
I am the Lord.
Right, man. And, where it says, for I will pass through the land of Egypt. And it's talking about Yahweh Shai. Yep. That's that plague that was ultimately that came upon Egypt. Because ultimately, what, it was 10 plagues that came upon Egypt, and the last one was where the Lord Yahweh Shai, being that destroyer, came through the land and took all those firstborn, and killed them, man. This is why even in today, it's not going to be Yahweh Shai, taking all the firstborn, man. It's going to be everybody that doesn't have that walk, which is ultimately that mark of exemption, so which only the Israelites, the elect of the nation of Israel, can receive that the law. Everyone that doesn't have that the law is going to be put to death here in America. And we know that the elect consists of 144,000 true prophets of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Shai, and the 1/3, man. They're the ones that are going to receive that the law. Therefore, they're the ones that are going to be passed over. They're the ones that are ultimately going to have to be covered by the blood of Yahweh Shai. Get this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, which is likened unto that blood on that doorpost, man. They're the ones that are going to be passed over. Everybody else was not passed over, man.
Yeah, it's right. Ultimately, right now, the elect, well understands the time they're in. Like I said, Romans 13:11, and that means time that high time to awake out of sleep. For our salvation is nearer than we believe. And knowing that, our salvation is nearer than we believe, what mentality should we be in? Brothers been going into experience been heavy out, and brotherhood, man, while being seriously minded. And I remember I was going to do a lesson on it too, and I was going into that word of serious. When you go into like some synonyms, one of the synonyms was life and death. This is life or death at this point, man. How about Shemal Shai is bringing forth judgment? We're seeing judgments all the time, every day go out, man. That's just right. His judgment do come forth, every morning, he bring it to light. Or if you paraphrasing, but more judgments are going to get ready to happen, man. See, these people are living wickedly, man.
Right. Again, usually everything, usually something major happens either on or just after the Passover, man. Like, so you need to be a basically on your P's and Q's, y'all shy, man. Because again, those that are not covered by the blood of Yahweh Shai, are going to be destroyed. You're gonna eat, or you're gonna eat a fucking missile, man. And if not, you're gonna eat a bulletproof piece of oil, man.
Yeah, man. Let's talk about like it says in Jeremiah 16 chapter, that these people shall die grievous deaths.
That's right.
Very harsh deaths, man. Whatever the Lord sees, if we see what we want, that we want the Lord to pass over us and the bloody house try to cover us. Back to verse 13. Come. Exodus 12 and 13. And the reason the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where you are. Right. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you.
Right, he will pass over us. And again, this blood, right, in this time is that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Those that are getting this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, those that are, gathering up that oil, those are the ones that Yahweh Shai is going to ultimately pass over. We're part of the elect. The elect are going to get this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding and be passed over. Go ahead.
It says, and when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt.
Right, man. And we're ultimately going to go into that plague, man, because that plague was heavy. And this is what happened in that time. The time of, the Israelites coming out of Egypt, literal Egypt, and we also have to understand that same, judgment, which is death, is going to come to America, man, which is spiritual Egypt, We can go reading Psalm 15, and we'll start at verse 9.
Come. This is the book of wisdom of Solomon, chapter 18, verse 9.
Now, if those that don't know, ultimately the wisdom of Solomon, the 17th chapter and the 18th chapter ultimately go into, what happened, in Egypt. The chapter we're about to go into is, basically going into Howard Shai, him coming in and destroying basically the firstborn, every household that didn't have that, basically that blood on the doorpost. Even the Egyptians got it. The firstborn in every household. It even hit the Pharaoh, who took out his son. But yeah, man, this is what we're gonna go into, because it's a lot deeper than just having your firstborn put to death. It gets a lot deeper than that. It's a lot more gruesome. A lot more terrifying. So we're gonna go ahead and hit that. Go ahead.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 18, and verse 9, and it reads, for the righteous children of good men did sacrifice secretly, and with one consent made a holy law that the saints should be alike partakers of the same good and evil. The fathers now singing out their songs of praise. But on the other side, there sounded an ill-according cry of the enemies.
Right, the enemies being the Egyptians. Go ahead.
And a lamentable noise was carried abroad for children that were bewailed.
Right, man. Because again, the plague was to come and kill all the firstborn in the land. We're talking about every firstborn of every household in the whole land. The land of Egypt. People were crying, screeching. You know what I mean? People were, imagine, a woman or even your child being put to death. Waking up to your child being put to death, or seeing your child just fall and the life just leave it, man. People were screaming and crying for that, man. It wasn't a sight. No parent wants to go through seeing their child die, man. But this is what was happening back then. Children were being put to death right before the eyes of their parents, man. And there's nothing that they can do about it. Go ahead.
Right, go. It reads, verse 11, the master and the servant were punished after one manner, right? And like as the king, so suffered the common person.
Right. So this Yahweh Shai had no respect for person, man. And so this plague touched everybody, man. From the king, the king Pharaoh, all the way down to the common person, man, to the poorest person within the land. It did not, it didn't judge, so to speak. That death didn't judge; it was given to everybody.
Discrimination. That's
right.
You can read that too in Ezekiel the 9th chapter, going back to what I was talking about that before. That was the Heavenly Father talking to an angel, man, saying, touch not these people that have that that the law on us, or go to all those are slave, utterly old and little children, man. See, these angels don't care. They love to do the will of Yahweh outside, just as we do.
Well, hey, that angel that was going through this time was that head angel,
Yeah,
which was Yahweh Shai, man.
Mighty angel, man, as it says in Revelation, man. Mighty angel.
Right. Verse 12.
Verse 12, it reads, so they altogether had innumerable dead with one kind of death.
Right. Man.
Neither were the living sufficient to bury them, for in one moment the noblest of offspring of them was destroyed.
Right, man. So there was too many, there were so many people dead, man. They had people dying in the streets, dying in their homes. It was an extremely large number of people dead, man. It's like they didn't have enough, basically space to bury all these people, man. That's how great of a death there was, man. Keep on.
Verse 13, it reads, for whereas they would not believe anything by reason of the enchantment, upon the destruction of the firstborn, they acknowledged this people to be the sons of the Most High.
Right, man. Because at that point they knew. They were like, this was the children. This is the children of the Most High, man.
What does it say? Psalms 90:16, man. The Lord is known in the judgment which He executes. So ultimately, just like when you go into the time of Joshua, you had those two spies that came to Jericho. You had that woman, which I believe her name is Rahab. She had told him, she's like, man, we ultimately heard, of you, man, right? And of the judgments that that your power has ultimately done. You see, everybody in the whole land knew. See, but she feared. What I'm saying, matter of fact, if I can get that account real quick. All right, just to back at that point. Okay, this is the book of Joshua, chapter 2. Back at that point. Book of Joshua, chapter 2, and I'll start at verse 7. And the men pursued after them the way to Jordan unto the fords. And as soon as they which pursued after them were gone out, they shut the gate. And before they were laid down, she came up unto them upon the roof. And she said unto the men, I know that the Lord hath given you the land, and that your terror is fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land faint because of you. For we have heard how the Lord Yahweh dried up the water of the Red Sea for you when you came out of Egypt, and what he did unto the two kings of the Amorites that were on the other side Jordan, Sihon and Og, whom he utterly destroyed. Okay? You see, it says, and as soon as we had heard these things, our hearts did melt. Neither did there remain any more courage in any man because of you. For the Lord your power, he is the Most High in heaven above and in earth beneath. Right. See that, just backing up that point, how we just read in Wisdom of Solomon 18, everybody acknowledged that, hey, that we were the sons of the Most High after that plague had came. See, that fear was instilled in those people, just as it was in Rahab, man. See, and in all that land, it said there was no more courage in any man because what your power did, man. Right. That was the point.
Yeah, man, because that was the thing. He went through and smited every firstborn, man, mass death, like people I've never ever seen before. Slovakia, for that. But I had to take that phone call. But nonetheless, we'll continue on verse 14.
Verse 14, it reads, for while all things were in quiet silence, and that night was in the midst of her swift course, thine almighty word leapt down from heaven.
Right, man, and that almighty word is Yahweh Shai, man.
Yeah.
He's called what? The word of the Most High. Yeah, man. Revelation 19, really all throughout the scripture, man. 8 John 1 and 1. That tells you that matter of fact, let's go there real quick. We may get that real quick. Yeah. This is John 1 and 1. Yeah. It says now upon the first day. So I'm right. This is John chapter 1, verse 1. It says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with the Most High, and the Word was the Most High. Right, man. That's talking about Yahweh Shai, man. Yahweh Shai is the firstborn creation of all creatures. Man. Firstborn of all creatures. Man. Colossians the third chapter, the 15th verse. Man. You know, it says right here, the same was in the beginning with the Most High. And all things were made by Him, and without Him was not anything made that was. Right. Again, that's talking about Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai, He created all things. By the Spirit of the Heavenly Father, man. The Heavenly Father told Him to create, and He created, man. The only thing the Heavenly Father created was Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai did everything else. Man. That's how it was, man. But he gave all praise, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father, man. But nonetheless, Yahweh Shai is that word, man. Let's grab another precept real quick. Revelation 19 and verse. I'll start at verse. I'll start at verse 11. It says Revelation 19 and 11 says, I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called faithful and true, and in righteousness does he judge and make war. Right, man, it's talking about Yahweh. It says, his eyes were the flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name was called the Word of the Most High. It's talking about Yahweh, man. So let's go back and verse 15 again.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 18, and verse 15. Thine almighty word let down from heaven out of thy royal throne as a fierce man of war.
Right. That's Yahweh Shai. We just read it. Go ahead.
As a fierce man of war into the midst of a land of destruction.
That's going into Egypt. Egypt is that land of destruction. Go ahead.
And read, and brought thine unfeigned commandment as a sharp sword, and standing up filled all things with death, and it touched the heaven, but it stood upon the earth.
Right, man. He's the one. Yahweh Shai is the one that brought that death, man. He was, which this time Yahweh Shai is gonna bring that death with him too, man. In second Ezra, the 13th chapter talks about Yahweh Shai is gonna come and destroy these nations, that are being gathered over there in Yahweh's spot, and he's gonna work his way over here, man. Isaiah 63, man. Where it talks about who cometh with dyed garments from Basra, man. Yahweh Shai is coming over here, man, with two roles. One to destroy the land and the people of the land, and to deliver the elect, man. That's what's gonna happen, man. Go ahead.
Because Jeremiah chapter 4 and verse 7, the lion is come up from his thicket,
right,
and the destroyer,
right,
of the Gentiles is on his way.
Right, man. That's talking about Yahweh Shai, man. The Yahweh Shai is on his way, man. And we see the signs, man. The signs of Yahweh Shai is coming. Upwards in the people, wars and rumors of wars, earthquakes and pestilence in diverse places. We're seeing all the signs. Yahweh Shai doesn't know the time that he is to come. The Heavenly Father didn't give him a time. Okay, you're going to come this day, or I'm going to release you go this day. No, he just knows the signs, and he gave us those signs to look for in order to know basically the gist of the time of his coming, man. And we're in those signs, man. We see all the signs. We know that Yahweh Shai is not the kingdom is not at hand. That's what it is.
We're finishing off the rest of that verse. It reads, he is gone forth from his place to make thy land desolate.
Right, to make thy land desolate, man. That's talking about America, man. Make this land desolate, which tells you Isaiah the 13th chapter, Isaiah the 34th chapter, Jeremiah the 50th chapter, and really all throughout the scriptures, man, that this land is going to be made desolate, man. This land is going to be destroyed, man, right along with 2/3 of our people and the rest of the nations that dwell here, man. Right? Right? This is what's coming, man. This is why we need to be passed over, man. We need to be passed over because that destruction is coming. And if we're not covered by the blood of Yahweh Shai, we don't have that to walk, and we're gonna partake in that destruction, man.
It's like 2/3 in Isaiah 6 chapter, man.
Yeah.
He said, Isaiah said, how long, O Lord? Basically, how long are these people going to be, blinded and not able to receive understanding? He said, so the city be wasted without inhabitants.
Right. So at the last fucking minute.
Yeah, that's what 2/3 is going to get when it's too late. But through the mercy and grace of Yahweh Hashem Shai, we got it now.
Right.
We got it, hey man, we have to take best use of the time we have to serve Yahweh Hashem Shai with fear and trembling, man.
Right.
I'll finish it off. It says, and thy city shall be laid waste without inhabitants. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 18 and verse 16, and brought thine unfeigned commandment as a sharp sword, and standing up filled all things with depth, and it touched the heaven, where it stood upon the earth. Then suddenly visions of horrible dreams troubled them sore, and terrors came upon them unlooked for.
Right, man. So not only did they deal with the children being put to death, but we're talking about horrible dreams. In Wisdom of Solomon, the 17th chapter, calls them apparitions, man. Demons and so on and so forth. Things that you've never. In Wisdom of Solomon, the 17th chapter talks about that day it was so dark that you basically couldn't see your hand in front of your face, and you would hear the sounds of basically whatever basically as it was coming at you or anything like. Well, we're talking about some scary shit. Go and read Wisdom of Solomon, the 17th chapter and the 18th chapter. Yeah, man, it's scary. Man. We're talking about people literally died being scared so much, man. This is what was going on, man. And it's gonna be the same in this time. We're just talking about people's hearts failing them for fear. You know what I mean? And this coming time, and people literally are going for the things that they're gonna see. They're gonna see a missile coming at them. They're gonna be seeing chariots beaming and burning shit up. And people are literally for them being so scared, they're literally gonna die, man.
Yeah, that shit Yahweh Shai is coming back on, man. Hey, it's gonna be 3 times the size of this earth.
Right.
And I was bringing out that account of that one, I think it was the ex-CIA agent or something like that.
Right.
And he was basically still in the beams, man. And these devils they know who's coming, and they know how he's coming too. See? But nevertheless, he said he was telling the lady I was interviewing, he's like, where would you even manufacture a ship 7 earth lengths long, man?
Right.
She basically saying how big the ship was. He looks scared, man. That's the point.
Right.
Wisdom of Solomon 18 and verse 18. And it reads, in one thrown here, another there hath dead, show the cause of his death.
Right. So people were, they're being tossed. You know what I mean? People were literally being tossed, and being slammed against walls and people just being half dead, like they literally have half the life in them, man. They're just like pale, can't move, just half fucking dead, man. Hey, we're talking about some shit happened in that time, man. Again, these same things, obviously in a different manner, because the ice being moved when this was the chariots coming, and Yahweh Shai coming with the chariots army, in this time, man. Hey, but it's gonna be even more devastating, man. Because it's not gonna be that time, the time in Egypt is not going to be remembered because the time that we're coming into, that's the time that's going to be remembered over all the time, man. Well, it tells you in Jeremiah, the 16th chapter, Jeremiah, the 23rd chapter, you should have no more called the children that came out of the north country, or no more the children that came out of Egypt, or the children that came out of the north country. Hey, roughly paraphrasing those scriptures, man. Hey, so the Egypt is not going to be remembered. Us coming out of Egypt is not going to be remembered. It's going to be us coming out of Babylon. That's what we remember. And the shit that happened here, from the destruction to the deliverance, that's what's going to happen, man. This destruction that's coming, man, is going to be far greater than that was in the time of Egypt. Physical Egypt. We're in the spiritual Egypt right now, man. And this same thing is going to come. The destruction, man. That's why you need that for a while. You need that exemption. That's what I mean, man. The law means exemption from judgment, man. It's like going back in the time of the Romans, man, that they would have a black and a white stone. If you receive that black stone, you're getting that judgment. If you receive that white stone, you've been found not guilty, and you are exempt from the judgment that's at hand. We want that white stone, man. That's so wrong.
Yes, you say it. The Most High will not at all acquit the victim. Right? Basically, what's that word acquit? I believe it goes into leave somebody free from charges. See, but the Lord's going to acquit the righteous, man. See, if you go in Revelation 14th chapter, it talks about how the elect were found with no guile in their mouth, man, knowing in the spirit. and loosely paraphrase, and the elect are going to be blameless. See, all their sins are going to be forgiven and covered.
Right.
You know, we pray that we're of that number, man.
Right.
You know, I'll go back. Yeah. Wisdom of Solomon 18 and 19. It reads, for the dreams that troubled them did foreshow this, lest they should perish and not know why they were afflicted.
Right. And they knew why, man. They knew exactly why. They knew that the Most High was doing that to them because they were holding, basically flipping the apple of his eye, man, touching the apple of his eye, you know. And like it says, about Obadiah, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, which Esau is the apple, it's like Israel, it's like Israel, Jacob, which we know Israel and Jacob are interchangeable. Israel is the apple of the Lord's eye, man, and for all the things that Esau, has done to, Israel, Esau is gonna have to fucking pay for that, man. As well as all you other nations, man. All you other nations have had Israel in captivity at one point or another and done gruesome things to us at one point or another, man. So start with Esau, the wicked, and you're all gonna have to pay, man. Esau, gonna have the worst judgment, of course, but still, nonetheless, and all that's gonna come upon all you nations, man. All this destruction is gonna come upon all you nations,
Yeah. The Lord sees all, man.
Right, man.
It reads, Wisdom of Solomon chapter 18 and verse 20. Yea, the tasting of death touched the righteous also, and there was a destruction of the multitude in the wilderness, but the wrath endured not long.
Right, so ultimately, because we were being wicked and so on and so forth going into the wilderness, after we came out of Egypt, and we were put to death as well, man. You wicked Israelites were put to death, and we're in the wilderness now, man. And you wicked Israelites are gonna have to be put to death, man, right along with these other nations, man, beginning with Esau, Edom. That's why it tells you in Zechariah 13 verse 8, there's two parts therein should be cut off and die, man. We're in the wilderness, man. You wicked Israelites that don't want to get this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, but want to stay, in Egypt, and prosper in Egypt, because again, America's spiritually called Egypt. You're gonna have to be put to death, man. What is it, Isaiah the 31st chapter? You're gonna have to be put to death, man. Right along with this motherfucking place, man. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, man. That's why we're constantly out here, warning our people of what's to come. Because again, we're in this is the Passover, man. Well, this is pre-Passover. Passover is going to take place here in a little bit. The evening, the 16th, tonight, basically till 23rd, that night, man. So, and Passover is usually a time where a lot of things happen. We've been saying that over and over and over again, man. If you don't get right, you will be destroyed, man. That's period point blank. We're in a time where you need to get right. For those that are just coming in, there's gonna be something coming at the last hour, man. And you need to get this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and try to serve the Lord Yahweh, try to the best of your ability. Otherwise, you will be destroyed, man. You need to get this as much as you can. Read as much as you can. Watch videos as much as you can. Proper breakdown, man. Get the proper breakdown. Don't play around with this, man. This is way too serious, man. For you to be messing around, and think, oh, I'll get it later. Hey, Sirach, the 5th chapter, 7th verse, says what? Put that off from day to day, and you'll turn to the Lord, man. So hey, you need to get this right now. Because soon there's gonna be a time when you are not able to get this word, man. You're not able to get that breakdown. Amos, the 8th chapter, man, starting at verse 11. Yeah, there's gonna be a time where you're not gonna be able to get this breakdown. That's why you need to get it now, man.
Proverbs 21:16. The man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead.
Right, man. And those that, hey, when you look at, the altar of the Lord Yahweh Shabbat, those men out there, preaching this word, and when you just walk right past it, hey, you basically just sealed your fate, man. When you see those men out there in the highways and byways making their body a living sacrifice for Yahweh Shai, hey, that's for you. When you pass it, the Lord Yahweh Shai gave you a choice right there, man. Then we ultimately, there's no such thing as free will. But nonetheless, you just sealed your fate, not stopping and getting that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, man. Like it says, like Isaiah 30:26, wisdom and knowledge shall be a stability of thy time, and the strength of salvation, man. So you need and this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding is that blood, man. If you're not covered by the blood of Yahweh Shai, and then guess what? You're fucking gonna be done, man. You know, you will be destroyed. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's more of when. You know, that's why we're constantly telling you people to get this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, man. You know, and yeah, we can go back.
Hey, it says in Wisdom, Solomon 2, and the Lord loveth none but him that dwell with wisdom.
Right.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 18, and verse 21. And it reads, but then the blameless man made haste and stood forth to defend him, and bringing the shield of his proper ministry, even prayer and the provocation of incense, set himself against the wrath, and so brought the calamity to an end, declaring that he was thy servant. So he overcame the destroyer, not with strength of body, nor force of arms, but with a word subdued he him that punished, out alleging, yeah, alleging the oaths and covenants made with the Father.
Right, man. You know, that's heavy, man. You know, indulging in this work, serving Yahweh Bashim Shai, man. You know, that's ultimately what's going to get us out of here, man.
For when the dead were now fallen down by heap one upon another, standing between, he stayed the wrath and parted the way to the living. For in the long garment was the whole world, and in the 4 rows of the stones was the glory of the Father's grace, and thy majesty upon the diadem of his head. Unto these the destroyer gave place, and was afraid of them. For it was enough that they only tasted of the wrath.
Right, man. You know, we just read through, you know, we already got the point where we just want to read through and get all that meat off the phone. But yeah, man, you know, hey, so this destruction is coming, man. You know, and it's coming to America. Matter of fact, let's grab Isaiah 13. And I think that's where it is, where it says spiritually called Sodom of Egypt.
Oh, Revelation?
Oh yeah. You know, because again, this is that same destruction that we
where it says Sodom as Sodom and Gomorrah.
No, first called sodomy.
Okay, yeah. Grab that.
Yeah, if you can, Bob Shaw. Because again, you know, everything that we read, you know, is coming to, you know, America, man. You know, like coming to America. You know, but nonetheless, hey, this is why we celebrate the Passover to the best of our ability. And before the Passover, even after the Passover, we continue to get this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, man. Because again, we need to be passed over, man. You know, because that's you know those that were passed over, they're the ones that made it out of Egypt, man. You know, every time, man. Passover is no joke, man. You know. Oh, go ahead.
Revelation chapter 11 and verse 8, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom in Egypt.
Right, man. That great city is talking about America, and our dead bodies is basically, you know, us not knowing who we are, you know, and no one telling us who we are, nobody breaking down exactly who we are, you know. But spirit and power, Yahweh Shai, you know, starting with, you know, Abba Biblians down to the elder apostles, and that's how we figured out who we are, man. You know, Lord Yahweh Shai, you know, ultimately have mercy on us and tell us who we are, man. You know, and but nonetheless, for, you know, a very long time, 250 years, man, you know, we never knew who we were, man. Well, starting from 1619 all the way to 1969, man. You know, 350 years we didn't know who we were, man. You know, but now we're starting to come back to who we are, man. But again, it says what? The body shall lie dead in the city that's called Sodom and Egypt, man. You know, which again is talking about here in America, man. You know, it's spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. You know, just we read all that plague that's going to come to, you know, that happened in literal Egypt. Hey, those plagues are going to come to, like that there's going to be a plague that's going to come to, you know, spiritual Egypt, man. You know, and we go to Revelation, the 18th chapter. Yep. And we start at verse 4. You know,
this is the book of Revelation, chapter 18 and verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive not of her plagues.
Right, and this is going to be said by Yahweh Shai, literally, man, in the Lashon Hakadosh, man. Come out of, you know, Egypt, man. We're going to be delivered. You know, Lord, we'll probably be let. We're going to be delivered in those chariots, man. You know. Right. And it says that you be not partakers of her plagues. Right. I want to go to this right here. This is Zechariah. Bear with me, Slakia, man. Like I said, I'm not feeling too good, man. Again, nonetheless, the words of Yahweh Shem have to come out. Satan ain't gonna stop me, man. You know, well, real. This is Zechariah chapter 14. Zechariah chapter 14 and verse 12. It says, "In this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Shai will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall be consumed away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongues shall consume away in their mouth." So this is that plague, man. It's gonna be again. It's by ICBM nuclear missile. The death is still coming, man. And we know that the spirit of Yahweh Shai is going to be in those missiles, man. So hey, that death angel Yahweh Shai is still going to come, man. Yeah. Because not only is his spirit's going to be within those nuclear missiles, and Yahweh Shai is physically going to be here, man. And he's going to tear this place a fucking new one, man. And it's going to be like a time that has never been seen before, man. Oh, we can continue on
that Revelation.
Yeah.
So Revelation chapter 18 and verse 5. It reads, "For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High hath remembered her iniquity."
Right, man. The Lord Yahweh Shai is not going to forget, all the things that you have done to his people, man. You go back to the time of Pharaoh, and the Lord Yahweh Shai, every single time that he said no, which ultimately the Lord Yahweh Shai hardened his heart, and the plagues just got worse, worse and worse until that death came, man. God, Salakia, man. Salakia, fucking Satan fucking with the damn live stream, man. Where were we at, man?
We were right here.
Yeah, you can read that again.
Revelation chapter 18 and verse 5. And it reads, for her sins have reached to heaven, and the Most High hath remembered her iniquity.
Right.
Verse 6, reward her even as she rewarded us, like reward her as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works. And the cup which she had filled, filled to her double.
Right, man. It's gonna be a very gruesome punishment, man. You know, and we're talking about very, very gruesome, man. And again, the whole land is gonna be laid desolate, man. You know, no one is gonna be able to dwell here from generation to generation forever. You know, the desert creatures are gonna dwell here, man. You know, just like in Sodom and Gomorrah. You know, you look at Sodom and Gomorrah now. Hey, there's nothing that grows over there, man. Only desert creatures dwell there. You know, it's gonna be the same thing in America, man. You know, again, that death and destruction is coming to America. Go ahead.
On how much she had glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow.
Right, and this is the same mentality that Pharaoh had, man. You know, the Pharaoh didn't believe that anything was going to come upon him, man. You know, because he didn't want to release, the children of Israel. Man. You know, he just wanted to keep coming up against them, keep coming up against the Lord Yahweh Bashim Shai, even though Moses kept trying to warn him, kept trying to warn him, kept trying to warn him. You know, plagues would keep coming upon him, man, but he didn't. You know, he didn't get it till the last minute, so it was too late. And that's the same thing that Esau's going to have. Man. He's going to have that destruction come upon him at the last fucking minute. You know.
Backing that up, this is Romans chapter 9, verse 17. For the scripture saith unto Pharaoh, even for the same purpose have I raised thee up, that I might show my power in thee, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth.
Right.
Hey, and like brother brought out, man, hey, the power of Yahweh is going to be declared in that day, man. You see? But when the Lord brings that destruction, hey, people are going to be talking about that destruction for all eternity, man. And the salvation that our Lord Yahweh came with, man, with that healing in his wings. See? Never have our people been delivered in such a fashion that's getting ready to happen in the sad days, man, in the near future. You know, like it says, they shall be amazed at the strangeness of this salvation, because it seems like something out of a sci-fi movie, man, but this is reality. You people live in fantasy, but we deal with reality, man. See, but the point being, the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart to bring him up, just so he could bring him down, man, and to have his name declared.
That's what's happening to Esau right now, man. His pride, his pride is, they're going to be able to establish their new world order, but as it says in Job 20th chapter, when he's going to, basically eating Lord Yahweh Shah before he fills his belly, he's going to cast his fury and his wrath upon him, man.
Close to steal, man.
Right, man. So Esau Edom is, he's literally going to have, the mindset of what we see now that, he's going to be able to do what he's planning to do, able to, building him up so that way the Lord Yahweh Shah can throw him down, we see that mentality right now, go back. Let's give one more verse.
Come on. Revelations 18 and verse 8, therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burnt with fire. For strong is the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, who judgeth her.
Right, man. So ultimately, we went into the judgment that happened to the Egyptians. We're reading about the judgment that's coming to spiritual Egypt, man. Hey, just as we were covered back then, by the blood of Yahweh Shai, ultimately, hey, we need to be, we need that the walking right there. But we need to be covered, by the blood of Yahweh Shai again, man, because in that judgment is going to be it's going to be great, It's going to be a judgment that we need to escape from. The only way that we're going to be able to escape is if we have that law, because those that have the law, no judgment as far as destruction and death is going to come to them. They're going to receive the reward. They're going to receive those palms in their hands.
This is Ezekiel in verse 4, and it reads, the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof.
Right, again, that word mark goes into law, the judgment, right?
Gone. And to the other he said in mine hearing, go ye after him through the city and smite. Let not your eyes spare.
Right.
Neither have ye pity.
Right, I mean, what death is going to come to?
These angels aren't gonna feel bad, man. Yeah, people, that, oh, little Jimmy just died, Tyrone just got, stuff, his organs got stuffed in a locker, man. See, that was all judgment, man. For how about Chanel Shy?
Well, right, man. Was that Job 4 and 7? There's
Be innocent, where the rights cut off.
That's right, man. Hey, so ultimately, you that perish, in the times to come, and ultimately, you were given a chance, man, to repent. You were given a chance to get this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. But guess what? You were found, guilty. You know, you were found guilty of not getting this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, man. You know, and therefore you're gonna have to be put to death. You know, that's just there. It might sound gruesome, and it might sound, rude, but hey, it is what it is, man. It's all coming from Yahweh Bashim Shai, man. You know, go ahead.
Right, verse 6, it says, slay utterly, old and young, both maids and little children.
Right, so the Lord Yahweh Bashim Shai is not gonna have, oh, okay, well, because you're 3 or 4 years old, hey, you're exempt. No, man. Or because you're 65 years old, you've been through the world, hey, you're exempt. No, man. Lord Yahweh Shai says he has no respect of persons, man. So therefore he's going to destroy utterly everybody that does not have that law, man. And whether you be an Israelite or whether you be the other things here in America, you will get that judgment. Go ahead.
Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women.
Right.
But come not near any man upon whom is a mark, and begin in my sanctuary.
Right.
Then they began at the sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house.
Right. It's like he says in it. What is that? First Peter 4:17. For judgment will begin at the house of the Most High. Hey, that's what's happening, man. If you're not truly in this gospel, if you truly, not part of the election, you're, like we see fucking One Body and all these other camps. If you're, if you don't have the true wisdom, knowledge, understanding, you don't have the proper breakdowns, or you took a bag, or anything like that, and what's going to happen, man? You're going to receive that judgment, man. You have to have the proper breakdowns. You have to, be a part of the sheepfold, man. You have to be sincere, because there's so many people that think that the Passover, or even just the word in general is something to play with, man. And it's nothing to play with. This is serious, man. If you're not genuine, if you're not sincere, if you're not serious, and then guess what, man? And the Lord Yahweh Shai is going to weed you out, man. And eventually you're going to be set up for destruction, man. This is what's coming, man. This is what's right around the corner, man. If you don't get right, you will get destroyed, man.
I got a quick one. They got brothers out there, they got families, and for you brothers, man, they got families, and you shouldn't worry so much, man. How about Shema Shai got you, man? See, he got you and your little one.
So see, and you can read that in Jeremiah 31st chapter, the 8th verse.
Yep, right. That's right. This is book of Acts chapter 16, and I start at verse 29. Then he called for a light and sprang in, and came trembling and fell down before Paul and Silas, and brought them out and said, Sirs, what must I do to be saved? And they said, Believe on the Lord Yahweh Shai Mashiach, and thou shalt be saved, and thy house, man.
Right.
That's why it's written, I believe in the book of Ecclesiastes, if a man walk not diligently in the fear of the Lord, his house shall soon be overthrown. Right. See that? So if you're not walking in the fear of Yahweh Shai by default, if you have fear of the Lord, you're going to do what? You're going to keep his word. You're going to keep his words. Man. So you're going to try to keep everything written in this book to the best of your several ability.
And that's the second chapter.
Yep.
Near the 15th to 16th verse, man. They that fear the Lord will not will do that which will be wanted, and will what? Will be filled with the law, man.
Yep. See, so for you brothers out there, man, they got little ones, they continue to serve the Lord, because if you want your little ones to be saved, and your rib, then guess what, man? You gotta do as a man, gird your loins to serve the Lord, man. See, we're not in the time of games or hey, this is a solemn assembly, man. The Passover. It's not a time to be partying and going out to nightclubs and and dancing around, being in that mirth spirit. You see, because we don't know if we're gonna make it, man. We're giving diligence to make our calling and election sure, man. We're hoping to make it when all hell breaks loose, when our Lord comes back. But we don't want to be here.
Right.
See, so hey, man, if the Lord has a spirit on you to celebrate this year, this might be your first year, second, third year, man. It's the same spirit every year, man. It's solemn symbol. A lot of things happen on this night. We need to remember that hey, this is not a time to be partying, man. Okay, unless you guys can say.
I mean, that's really it, man. Hey, remember that that death that came to literal Egypt. Hey, that death is coming to spiritual Egypt as well, man.
Yeah.
Hey, so hey, get ready, man. Prepare. You know, watch therefore and pray always, man. He may be accounted worthy to escape all the things that shall come to pass to stand before the Son of Man. 136, man. You know, hey, so hey, constantly watching, constantly praying. Because again, we need to be passed over, man. And those that don't find it as serious, or those that don't find it, as needed as we do, and you will be destroyed, man. I like to say, keep that same fucking energy, man. You know, we don't need those fucking weak ass motherfuckers being delivered, man. We need somebody who's gonna, stand in the fear of the Lord, man. Be strong in the Lord and in the power of His might, man. Keeping that faith, man. All the way to the end, and Lord will keep our faith all the way to the end, man. But again, pray, 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 pray. Pay attention to what's going on. Pray, pray, pray. Again, usually around the time of the Passover, something always happens, man. So man, that's really it, man.
Yeah, that's it, man. So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying to you brothers, man, you sisters, man. And continue to pray, continue to stay diligent, continue to stay faithful, see how about shine, continue in His word. But with that, we're going to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, our teachers. Shalom to you, brothers, pushing this truth across the four winds of this earth in all righteousness and sincerity. And as always, peace, blessings, and salutations to you, sincere Akim Wa'akwa, taking all abilities to make your calling and election sure in these last days. We want to say, Shalom, Kwam Yashala, and above all, Shalom. We want to stay strong.